All right, what's up, CFM? This is Coach Matt. It is benchmark time. It is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a wonderful, in the range of our benchmarks, it is middle duration, which is still very short by like a long workout standard or overall workout standards. So think total range of, say, 5 to 12 minutes is a good time for Elizabeth. Depending on if you do the RX weight, how are you good at squat cleans, how are your body weight gymnastics. So think in that range, and no matter what, we want it to be a challenging, complex, a couplet of movements. And if you have a background in this, if you have several other examples of this benchmark in your history in Sugar WOD, then make sure you look back at those and compare yourself to them in terms of the weight that you use, the range of motion, did you use assistance on the ring dips, those kinds of things. So the purpose of a benchmark is to test yourself versus a previous performance, and that is kind of the proof of the exercise program that you are going through, that you are actually making progress and moving towards a more functional capacity, right? So today, think about that as we set up for Elizabeth, and the coaches will always help you with range of motion and exercise selection, weight selection, that kind of thing. All right, so let's begin with the warm-up, 3 minutes of your choice, warm-up pace cardio. Then we're gonna do a little barbell stretching. So I want you to get a couple rounds through of some front rack stretches, bar on the knee stretches, 4 tall cleans, right? So 2 rounds through front rack. So we're just pressing those elbows up away from the body is the big deal on that. We can do it from in front of the neck. We can do it from behind the neck. All right, do one at a time and then double them. Also, that overhead position can help just to loosen up and strengthen your ability to control your shoulder blades, which is huge in getting your elbows away from the body, right? A lot of times if our shoulder blades are glued here, it's tough to get that bar out in front of us, or the elbows out in front of us. And the other thing is how you position the bar on your neck. If the bar is above the collarbones, it's a lot easier to get the elbows out of the way than if the bar is sliding down your chest, like towards your sternum, okay? All right, and then the bar on the knee stretch. So I'm placing that bar up on top of my knees and just sitting down and leaning one direction then the other direction, okay? Our tall cleans, right? Don't do this with much weight on here. 45, 55, 65, that's fine. But you gotta start with the bar relatively low. So think somewhere between the belly button and the sternum. Elbows up high, trying to get up on top of that bar, and then using that bar's inertia, right? It wants to sit still wherever it's at, right? And you need to pull yourself underneath it to catch at the bottom, right? Because we will be practicing for squat cleans today. All right, then I want you to get 4 rounds through 4x3 squat cleans. So 4x3, 4 sets of 3 squat cleans. So we'll do these all from the floor or from the shins. If you don't have the full-size weights, extending all the way up, catching at the bottom of the squat, and standing tall every rep, okay? When you do the workout, it is always faster to do singles and ditch it from the shoulders. I would like us to be in the practice of just trying to responsibly manage the equipment, right? That's the purpose of the bumper plates, is that you can drop the weights, right? However, if we aggressively and forcefully slam the weights to the ground, everything just doesn't last as long. So just try to be judicial about how many times you like flip it off your shoulders and just bounce it off the ground and let it go flying. That's not really the intent of the bumper weights. They are meant as a safety mechanism as opposed to just a convenience mechanism or a help me PR mechanism. So think about, no matter what you're doing, try to control that weight. If you can't set it down safely, then you shouldn't pick it up in the first place. That's one of those golden rules of lifting, right? So that will be our warm-ups, is 4 sets of 3 squat cleans up to your workout weight. In between that, I want you to be setting up your ring dips. Now, if ring dips are just totally out of the question for you, by all means, use a Matador, and the stability issues with the rings are intentional, right? So the rings only support you vertically, so you have to provide all the horizontal support, and there's a lot of value in that athletically and for the health of the shoulders, as well as just a performance driver for your shoulders, right? So the range of motion needs to be shoulders below the elbows. Sometimes we'll go to the biceps touching the rings. Either one of those is fine. And then elbows locked out and thumbs pointed out at the top, okay? So the way I just did it there was a kind of a medium difficulty, where my feet are off the ground at the top, right? So I'm still having to support myself, but I'm using a little bit of feet to prop me up. Obviously, the hardest way to do this is with no feet touching the ground. The easiest way to do this is with both feet touching the ground. And then somewhere in between that is using a band or I'll lay the band over the ring like that, and I'll have my hand trapping it on top, right? And I can do that with both hands. Now the only trick on this is getting in and out of the rings. So make sure that your knees are pointed down when you do this, and you still have to provide a good amount of stability on here with your shoulders as you go through that, and then make sure you don't flip yourself out of that too fast, or the band will come back up, fly up and hit you in the face, okay? So that our rep scheme for Elizabeth is 21, 15, and 9. It's gonna be a clean, followed by ring dips, and then clean, ring dips, clean, ring dips. This is a full squat clean from the floor, is the traditional version of Elizabeth. It's one of the oldest CrossFit arguments in the world. Similar to, was Murph meant to be done partitioned or partition? In the beginning, a clean was a squat clean, right? I didn't have to say squat clean. Squat clean is kind of a made up term for someone who maybe didn't hear the distinction between a power clean and a clean, right? So unless we say power clean, it's a squat. That is the traditional etymology of the term clean, right? So that's the workout for today. Again, time range in that like 5 to 12 minute range for this whole complex of exercises, the 2 of them back to back. It is for time. That never means that you slap on your technique or go heavier than you should go just to get an RX. We always want to prioritize proper movement as opposed to just going fast or setting our sights on a PR and then shorting range of motion in order to get shave a few seconds off of our old time, right? So just think about your mindset before you go into this one of, even if you don't PR, if you get a good workout in, then it's a worthwhile spending of your time, right? When we're done with Elizabeth, since it's a relatively short one, we're gonna get in our deload pulling work for today with a little superset action in. So we're gonna do RDLs, so that's Romanian deadlift, which means we can pick it from the pins on the rig, or you could just pick it up off the ground and then start from the top going down, right? But the hips stay high, the knees don't bend very much, and we're only using 40% to 50% of our 1 rep max, right? But think about keeping the knees at a constant angle until you get to the very top, and then we're still locking out by squeezing the butt really hard and squeezing the abs, so we're kind of tilting the pelvis until it's in that nice neutral position, right? Our supersets for this are contralateral dead bugs and plank kick throughs, okay? So I'll demonstrate these ones. The contralateral dead bug, the way I want to do this today, think about the points of contact is the low back, right? So I want my spine pressed firmly to the ground. I want the back of your head touching the ground, right? This is something I see a lot on our dead bugs is we crunch upward, and that focuses you on your upper abdominals. When we do the dead bugs, I want you to think about the lower and the internal, the deeper layers of your core, right? So try to relax your head into the ground when you do this. And what we're gonna do is 8 reps in a row of just moving opposite hand and foot, like so. And then when you switch, we're moving the other set, okay? 8 in a row, opposite hand and foot, okay? Keeping the back and your head on the ground the whole time. All right, next one is going to be our plank kick throughs, okay? So you're gonna get from the plank position, we're gonna move, pick one hand up to your hip, leg comes out so it's in line with your foot, and then back to the plank position, and then the other hand up to your hip, rotating, plank comes up, or leg comes up until it's in line with your hand, and then back to our plank position. You're just gonna rock back and forth between those two for the remainder of the time. So make sure you get a set of those every time that you are, every time you finish a set of deadlifts. All right, that is it for today. Hit those cool down tissue work examples when you're done. I'll see you for our workout tomorrow.